welcome to episode 2 of Point of View with Angelita.
Hey, how is everyone?
Desiree.
Hello, how's everybody doing?
And Yolanda. Today we got a fabulous topic, or maybe a sensitive topic. It just depends on your actual situation. Today we are talking about mothers. So, are you going live?
No.
Oh. So today we will be talking about our different experiences with our moms. Yeah, you want to go live? Our different situations with our mothers, as far as our mother-daughter relationship, or how you helping your mom, or have you forgave your mom, or do you plan on forgiving your mom, or just what type of mom in general did you have, or do you have a supportive mom, or what have you? So I'm going to start with Desiree first.
Okay, well, hello everyone. And I'll start about my relationship with my mother. It didn't start, it wasn't a good relationship growing up. And a lot of things I understood, unfortunately, a lot of things I realized and understood as an adult woman.
Tornado warning. I'm sorry, I'm calling you.
As an adult woman, unfortunately, after my mother was deceased, but one of the things I can start out with is I was a child that was born out of wedlock, and my mother had me by a married man. So I'm from the South, and so I was born in the 60s, so of course there was already a lot of guilt, a lot of shame, not only for her, but you know, I guess back then, if your daughter got pregnant and she wasn't married, it was not only shameful to the young lady, but shameful to her family. That's just the way, you know, it was in the 60s. So I grew up, I guess my mom, she never really spoke about my father. And so I never knew for the longest that he was married. I never knew anything about him until I was like 38. But however, growing up, she was always very shut down, and even though it probably was from her pain and from the guilt and shame that she had experienced having me, but as a kid, I was always, you know, I really thought that my mother did not like me. So I grew up, you know, just feeling like she didn't like me, and it was just, I don't know. So by the time I was a teenager, you know, I had a lot of resentment and, you know, just anger built up with her, you know, toward her.
Did she raise you?
Yeah, she did. She did raise me along with the help of my grandparents. So I grew up with her, but she was like, emotionally, she was shut down.
Okay.
So like in the house, it was me, her, one of my cousins, and my aunt. So my aunt, you know, she was more into like me and my cousin and doing things with us, and whereas to my mother, like, I can't say that she didn't take care, like she took care of me, but she wasn't there. Like it was always,
she wasn't there
emotionally, like
hugs, kisses,
none of that.
I miss you.
Yeah, none of that. It was
really?
Always, yeah, really.
Wow.
So it was always like, and she was off on the weekends, my aunt was off on the weekends, but it was always, I'm going to stay at home and relax. Like, here's some money to go to the mall. You guys are going to go to the mall. Like, she never just interacted. And then I'll say probably by the time I was like 14, 15, then she started like trying to be my friend, you know, let's do this. And at that point, like inside, like I really hated her. Like, but it was just, you know, inside, I didn't even know why I felt like I felt. But however, so speed forward a few years later, so being an adult, I understand now why I felt like I felt toward her, because I can remember being like 4 and 5 years old, and my grandmother still fussing at her because she got pregnant and she had this baby. I can just remember, you know, my grandmother just having her, you know, in the kitchen. She's sitting down, my mother with like tears rolling down her face, you know, my grandmother just like going off, because of course, you know, back then people didn't talk back to their parents.
Right.
And so now I understand that because everybody kind of treated her bad because they really didn't let it go. So me growing up, that was my observation. Like, everybody didn't like it. Well, I mean, I know they liked her, but it just appeared that nobody liked her. So as her kid, that's all I can remember. Like, you know, it's like she was never good enough. Like, even me living in Michigan with her, my aunt, like my grandmother would always call my aunt and say, can you make sure she has this? Can you make, like, it was like she was just disregarded. Like, she just wasn't good enough.
Wow.
And so, I don't know. So I just always carried the resentment toward her. And my story is really long. It'll take up like 2 shows.
Shorten it, look.
All right.
But I mean, throughout all of that, how did it end as far as, like, you know, your mother? How did you ever forgive her?
But you know what? I didn't forgive her until, like, after she was dead. Like, I had to get it. Like, I never knew why I felt like I felt. And it's like, but, you know, getting older and just understanding and just looking at other people's situations. Everybody, well, I don't want to say everybody, but a lot of people have issues with their mom, their dad. Like, everybody feel like they didn't get this or they didn't get that. But now I realize, like, now I understand, okay, she had all this guilt, shame, and other people's guilt, shame put on her. So she was emotionally shut down. And then with a lot of things people had to deal with back then, you know, it could have been something wrong, but she didn't get diagnosed. You know, we just never know because people just kept it moving. And so, I don't know. I mean, I forgave her afterwards because I understand now, you know, kids don't come with instructions.
That's true.
And then,
what made you forgive her?
Because I think when you don't forgive people, it really hurt you. And like I said, I carry all this resentment around for like years and years and years. And so, I don't know. I just wanted to feel better. I just wanted to feel better. And then I had to, like, I think when a lot of us are carrying around, you know, like resentment and anger, but we have to, instead of lash out at other people, you know, we have to be willing to deal with what's inside. And so for years, I guess I never wanted to really deal with it. But when I decided to deal with it and just
when you had no choice but to deal with it.
Yeah, I mean, it's still a decision. It's still a decision. Like, when you really sit down and say, okay, why do I feel like this? Why do I act like this? And it's like, it's soul searching, and it's hard to look within. It really is hard to look within because it's so easy to say, well, if my mother didn't do this, or if she didn't do that, if I would have went here, or that I would be like this.
The blame game.
But once you become an adult,
yeah, that's true.
The accountability is on me. You know what I mean? So
basically, you're saying that instead of pointing a finger at mom or mother or father or your parents, sometimes you got to look within and forgive them in order for your life to be what you want it to be.
Because even though
not only that, you got to also think about, too, like everything, sometimes things travel through generations and generations. You know what I'm saying?
True.
So something could have been going on with your mom, you know what I'm saying, that she hasn't healed from. Something could have been going on with her mom that they haven't healed from. Because, you know, we have family where, you know, let's just be honest, in the black community back in the day, what happens in this house stays in this house. You know?
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So you got to, you know, think about all of that, you know, all of that plays a part.
Yeah, the guilt and shame that people carry, and it's like, I don't know, it's just so much. It really do go really deep. I mean, especially like in my family, I've seen where somebody had to have a baby, and when they were like 14, they sent them away to have a baby, and then when they came back with the baby, oh, well, we're going to adopt this baby, so this is your brother.
Oh, wow.
No, and that's what I'm saying. Like, it's so much where, you know, so many things that people go through. Or I had an aunt, like one of my cousins, his dad just abused him, like out of 6 kids. And then, like, he never knew why his dad hated him. But when his dad went to the military, his mom, she got pregnant. She had this baby. But he decided to stay married to her, but every time he would get mad at the mother, like he would just snatch this little boy up out his sleep and just like beat him down. And he was just like what's wrong with me? Like, why am I fighting? And it's like, the sad thing is like, even though sometimes it might not be our place to tell that person something, but it's like the whole family knew. But this guy had to be on drugs, go through therapy. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
like, it's so many things that could have been avoided
ahead of
or
time.
his mom just simply telling him, hey, this is what happened.
But still, I mean, one thing I can say and I love about my mother, regardless of the situation, we have to remember that it's not the child's fault.
True.
Children are innocent bystanders, you know, and we shouldn't blame children for what adults did, you know. And
Absolutely.
a lot of times we fall into that situation where, well, I really don't like him because he's in my house, but he's really not my baby, and you know, and I don't have to take care of him.
Shame, like people, because they're angry. Like it's like even in my situation, like my mama, because she got pregnant when she was 19, she didn't even tell me that my father was married till after my grandparents died. Like, I didn't even find out till I was 30. So she held all this in. Just the fact, like my grandfather, their relationship was never the same. Like, he literally stopped talking to her. And even though, you know, your mother is always there for you, but even though she talked to her, but she, like, never let her forget. Like, she really, like, dogged her out. But the shame that people have. So my grandmother was ashamed. Her daughter got pregnant at 19, so she angry on the inside. She's taking it out on my mother. Then my mother, she angry.
Never even forgive her daughter.
Right.
But sometimes you got to look at the bigger picture. Like, oh my God, just think if Desiree wasn't here.
Oh, they treated me wonderful. I got treated wonderful.
Look what your mom went through. Like,
yeah, she did.
Sometimes you got to look at the bigger picture of what was the outcome. What would life be What will life be like without Desiree? You know, and sometimes you got to change the
Why you look at me?
It's okay. You know,
I didn't even say nothing.
People avoid looking at the bigger picture, you know?
Yeah, but like Angelita was saying, like, it's generational.
It is.
And even with my mother, like my grandmother, she used to fuss all the time. And even though she loved her children, she did everything for them. But like one time my mother, I remember me being 18 and kind of telling her what I thought, how she was. And then she was like, you think my mother hugged me and was always like this? And so, you know what I'm saying? So it's like how you grow up. Like and then really when I look at it, it's the same thing. Like my grandmother, she always did things for them. Now me and my cousin, but she was retired. You know what I mean? Like she was a single mom, but by the time me and my cousin came along, she was remarried, stay-at-home wife, so she was in a different place.
Right.
And she treated us like excellent, but you got to figure out the bitterness that she had with my grandfather divorcing her and marrying somebody younger. So she, you know what I'm saying? And they live in a small town.
Yeah.
So
in a small town.
Yeah.
Them small towns will get you in trouble.
Yeah, they stop.
You be seeing them out there on TV and stuff in the little small towns. You don't realize
everybody know everybody.
Yes, everybody literally know everybody.
Everybody know everybody.
Well, like I said, I don't want no flashbacks from anybody on Facebook because this is my personal experience from living in Mississippi, like things that actually happened, you know, in my life and my family. So I know people listening may live in Mississippi. However, it'll be situations.
You can't really say nothing about my situation. That's my situation.
No, I'm saying because I'm going to tell a story, but then people are like, well, it ain't like that, you know, so. But, okay, so I am from a small town in Mississippi. And the things that will really trip you out, so it was basically one grade school, one middle school, one high school. So it'll be...
Let's not get off track here.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to turn it over to Angelita.
No, I'm just saying, let's stay on track here. She about to give us her whole entire story.
Well, we cover all of that.
Do we cover all of that? Okay. How long is
your... And then you said that you didn't want to say that.
I didn't say that. No,
okay. Well, we're going to turn it over to Angelita.
I did not say that. Okay. So for me, I spent a lot of time with my grandmother. Okay.
Really?
Yes. Yes.
Your grandma, did you look like your grandma?
No, I look nothing like my grandmother. Absolutely nothing. My grandmother is like this. You know, anybody that's lighter than me is always light skinned. So, you know, but my grandmother she was a very light, she was a light complected woman. Well, let me take that back. My grandmother is
alive.
A light complected woman. Yes, she is alive. Oh my God, I was speaking like, oh no. But yeah, so I was my grandmother's first grandchild. I was my grandparents' first grandchild. So my mom had me when she was 18. However, I was my grandmother's baby, and wherever Granny went. I was her baby. I was spoiled. When the other grandkids came along, it didn't matter. I was her favorite. Okay. Everybody in my family knows that I am Betty Jean's favorite. Betty Jean.
Isn't that
yes.
Name?
Yeah.
Anybody. Betty Jean and James. Okay.
How many of y'all got Betty Jean's grandmas out there?
Now, I wasn't a fan of my grandfather when I was younger. He was just like this big, 6 foot. Oh my goodness. He was just so. I ain't gonna say mean, but I'll put it to you like this. Like, my grandfather, is very strict. I come from a very strict Baptist upbringing. Okay, so, you know, the Reverend didn't play that in his house, okay? So, but yeah, I spent a lot of time with my grandparents, my grandmother especially. So, yeah, she was like mom to me. My aunts did not like me.
Oh, wow.
Nope, they didn't like me because I was Granny's favorite. So, of course, so my mom had me when she was 18. So you have to understand my grandmother's youngest daughter, I think we're 5 years apart.
Oh, wow.
So let me just put it to you like that. So everybody was kids in the house, you know, when I came along and when I was growing up. So me and my Aunt Jennifer, if she listening, me and my Aunt Jennifer, oh my goodness, we did not like each other. Like, they were jealous of me. My Aunt Rose, like, they didn't like me because I was Granny's favorite. And Granny...
But you was the grandbaby and not the child.
It don't matter. They didn't like me, okay? But whatever I asked Betty Jean for, Betty Jean gave it to me, okay? So,
I still do you the same way?
You know, I know she would if she could. You know, my grandmother is older now, so, you know, she's not capable of, you know, we can't go to the movies and tell everybody we just going to the store, we'll be right back, you know, because Granny be like, hey, what movie you want to go see? Okay, your movie started this time, my movie, okay, we're going to tell them we about to go to the store, but we're going to go to the movies. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, yeah, I always got what I want, so, and my grandmother she wouldn't do for the other ones like she would do for me. You know what I'm saying? And they would see that, so that's where the jealousy came in, and, you know, they just did not like me. We used to always fight. I used to fight with my aunts. Like, we used to, like, fist fight and, you know, and then when my grandfather would come home, because he worked at Sears, you know, back when, you know, Sears had Sears Roebuck. Back when Sears had a furniture department, okay? Wow. I know y'all remember when, some people remember when Sears had a furniture department. My grandfather was, like, the top salesman, and she used to wait until he used to get home, and then we would all get whoopings because, you know, I don't know why she just didn't do it. Like, why you wait till he come home? Like, you know.
But they did that for real.
Oh, my goodness. And, you know, he, like I said, he like this 6'4", just big. My grandfather was huge, man. He was just big. But, so, yeah. So, but as far as, like, my mom's cool. But again, growing up, I spent the majority of the time with my mom, with my grandparents. So, you know, and then when my mom got married, I spent a lot of time with, you know, his side of the family, with his mom and his dad, you know. So, you know, no, we weren't the lovey-dovey. You know, my mom wasn't like, oh, I love you. You know, we wasn't affectionate or, you know, anything like that. I've been on my own since I was 16, you know. I had my older children younger when I was young. So, me and my mom have a relationship, but I'm not going to tell you that it's all roses and, you know, lilies and tulips and stuff. You know, it is what it is. But what I know as being an adult, as I got older, is, you know, there is no manual on how to be a mother. You know what I'm saying? There's no manual on how to be a parent, especially when you have your children young. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's just so many obstacles that you go through. You know what I'm saying? And these obstacles can be, like Desiree said, her mom had to constantly get, basically talked about because she had a child by a married man, and she couldn't do anything. She had to sit there and she had to take that. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So then, you don't know, like, if the person that you are having this baby by, you know what I'm saying? That's a whole nother person. So like, is he abusive, or is he this, or is he that? Mm-hmm. So, when you're young and you're having children, and again, I'm getting this as I get at my older age. It's no manual. You know what I'm saying? That's and you true. Don't know what a young mother has to go through at that time. So you don't know what makes them hard. Mm-hmm. What makes them emotionalist. You don't know why. You know what I'm saying? And some parents are not going to share these stories with you that make them that. You know what I'm saying? They're not going to say, hey, this is the reason why. Mm-hmm. I sucked as a mom. Okay, or this is the reason why I never showed affection to you. Right. Or they're not going to tell you that. True. You know what I'm saying? Because, it was basically get over it. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of stuff got swept under the rug. And so you have to understand, I'll say this. I think my mom has scars and has wounds that she hasn't been healed from. You know what I'm saying? Regardless if she wants to accept that in life, that's totally up to you. You know what I'm saying? That's what you have to deal with. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But at some point though, well, hey, it runs in the family, or hey, my mom did it. At some point, you got to break that generational curse. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? You have to break it, because what happens is if you don't, it just travels from one child to the next child, to their kids, and then to their kids, and to their kids. You know what I'm saying? It keeps going. So, I think that as a mother, any mother, you know what I'm saying, who doesn't have a good relationship, or, a okay or so-so relationship with their child, of course, I think that you need to be an adult, and I think that you need to listen to what it is that especially if your child wants to talk about it years later, or whatever the case may be. Mm-hmm. I think that you need to, you gotta shut up. You really gotta shut up. You gotta sit there and you gotta listen. You gotta listen to what your child is telling you. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? You ain't gonna like what they gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you that off front. You're not gonna like it. You know what I'm saying? But you got to be a woman to sit down and listen. Like, okay, you did. This is how I'm feeling, and this is how I felt all of these years. Yeah. And this is why I feel this way about you, or this is why I feel that. This is why you have to take it. You got, if you love your child, you're going to sit there, you're going to take it, and you're going to listen to what your child has to say. And again, this is my opinion. So, like, for me, like, I have older children, and, our relationship is not the best neither. Right. But let me tell you, though, when my son came to me and was like, Ma, I'm a man now, and I think we need to sit down and we need to have some conversations. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's sit down and let's have some conversations. Mm-hmm. My son laid out, hey, when I was younger, this, that, and that. I sat there, I shut up. I let my son tell me how he's been feeling, obviously for some years about some situations, okay? Yeah. So me, I think as a mom, the only thing I could do was to sit there and listen and apologize. Right. But here's my thing. Don't apologize to your child if you're not sincere with your apology. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? That's true. So for me, when my son felt the way he felt and said what he said, I sat there and I listened and I apologized, like sincere. Like, I don't cry. I'm not a crier. Anybody that knows me know I'm not crying. Right. Mm-hmm. I think my son was 20 years old at this time, or I think my son was 20 when we had this conversation. Boo-hoo, crying in tears, okay? Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? Because here's the thing. There was no manual on how to be a mom when I had my kids. Right, of course, I can point the blame game and I can say, well, your dad did this and your dad did that. And that's why things were the way that they were. They don't care about that. Yeah, they just know that, hey, this was not the way it was supposed to be, and this is how I felt. So I could sit there and I could play the blame game with, their dad and say, well, this is why this happened, And I could sit there and I could play the blame game with my mom and say, well, because of you, these things happen. Or I could play the blame game with my stepdad and be like, bam, here's the thing. Ain't nobody gonna say, you know what, you right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I apologize. This happened, or whatever the situation may be. So here's what must happen.
Right.
For me, in order for me to keep going and to move forward, I gotta look at you and be like, all right, I forgive you. I forgive you. I forgive you.
Right.
You gotta take that up with your maker in the end.
That's
you
right.
know what you did.
Absolutely.
I know what you
That's
did.
right.
But I'm not gonna hold that to you.
Yep.
I'm gonna get free. I'm gonna get myself free. You know what I'm saying? Because while I'm holding on to all of this anger and I'm holding on to all of this animosity and you know what I'm saying? You know, you did this and you did that. Dog, y'all living y'all life. Y'all going on trips every year. Y'all enjoying life. You know what I'm saying? Y'all not thinking about me. You know what I'm saying? So you have to you have to forgive. Basically what I'm saying is you have to forgive, you know, your mom or your grandmother or whoever it was that raised you or whatever the case may be. You have to forgive them for yourself.
That's true.
Right.
You're not forgiving them for them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I'm tiptoeing around what I'm saying, and the reason why is because I'm getting ready to write a book. And when I write this book, everything from my childhood all the way up to me being a grown woman is going to be in this book.
What's the name of the book?
I don't know yet. I think it's called Broken Pieces.
Oh, I like that.
I think it's called Broken Pieces. So, but it's just, and it's not to, and I'm not writing a book to be like, oh, let me tell what somebody did. No, it's for me. You know what I'm saying? It's for me, but then it's also for people that has went through the same thing that I went through. So you could be like, well, dang. She went through all of this and she still A1 and she still made it. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not in nobody crazy room with a straight jacket on, bouncing off of walls. You know what I'm saying? I'm not out here, you know what I'm saying, cracked out or, you know, some dope fiend, prostituting, selling, you know what I'm saying? I'm not doing none of that. You know, so it's like when you read it and when you see, when you actually sit down, and that's another thing too, you know, like, we're so worried about what people are going to say about us or about the things that we went through. Don't be worried about it. You did nothing wrong. We're so worried about not wanting to hurt people that did us wrong. I don't know why. Like you hurt me. You know what I'm saying? And because you hurt me, do you know how much I have to go through? Do you know the process of healing that I have to go through because you hurt me?
Absolutely.
And so now you want to know why I'm telling my story and you can't believe that I'm saying A, B, and C? What you mean you can't believe it? What you mean you can't? Your feelings hurt? Oh my God. My feelings was hurt too.
Well, like, and that's, I mean, like she said, that's how it is. Like I said, when I was trying to tell my mother how I felt at 18, then she was like, it instantly went to her mother. Well, do you think my mother did this or my mother did it? It was never about her.
The total opposite. This is I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Fine.
But because, you know, I didn't get, like, I'm gonna be honest, like I don't recall my mom saying I love you. You know, I don't recall getting hugs and you know, I don't recall any of that. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't recall any of that. Now my grandmother all day long. Okay. My grandfather the stability and it's just so much that I learned from my grandparents. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And again, this is not to knock my mom, because my mom, that's my mom. I love you. You gave me life. You know what I'm saying? But the things that she didn't do, I make sure that I do them with my kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, my youngest is 12, and then I have a 15-year-old, and then I have 2 grown children. But my younger ones, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm conscious about the things that I do. I'm conscious about the things that I say, you know. But I'm definitely always showing them tons of affection. I'm constantly telling you I love you. I'm constantly hugging on you. I'm constantly sitting down having conversations with you. You know what I'm saying? I'm constantly sitting down with my daughter. Having conversations with her. Okay,
very
you understand
important.
What I'm saying?
Very important.
I sit down with my son and I have conversations with him to a certain extent, but he be looking at me like, "Mom, like I talk to Dad about that," which is fine. But we're talking to our children. You know what I'm saying? And when it comes to my daughter, I'm really talking. We having conversations about any and everything, because here's the thing: you need to know.
Absolutely.
I found out a lot of things
on your own.
On my own. Baby, it wasn't pretty.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I do the opposite. I'm constantly showing my children affection. I let them know I love you. If you need your butt whooped, you're still going to get your butt whooped.
Right.
If you need to be punished, you're still going to get punished. But I love you. You know what I'm saying? And anytime that we're on the phone, because, you know, every kid got a cell phone now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But it's always whenever before we get off the phone, one of my children or one of us say first, I love you too. You know what I'm saying? Or I love you more. It's just a thing that we do. But you know, yeah, my mama loved me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
My babies can't, they can probably tell you, mama yell, mama cuss a lot, mama do this, mama do that. But they gonna also be able to be like, shh. My mama love us.
Right.
And that's what's important, that whatever we do, what I learned out here in this world, we may chastise our children, but we chastise them in love. You know, whether it's hollering, screaming, a belt, or what have you.
Right.
You know, and I tell people all the time, you prefer me to chastise you in love, because when you do something out here in these streets, they don't care. They'll shoot you 20 times and still keep shooting.
Stepping on their foot.
You know, they're not going to love you in, like I said, they're not going to love you, but they're not going to do anything in love. You know, because a lot of them don't come from loving families.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and being lovable to your children, you have different children. Because guess what? They're going to school with children that not receiving that same love.
Right.
You carry yourself different. You look different. Some of them have the nicest shoes, but they ain't received a hug in a long time.
Right.
And it's hard too, especially, you know, you also, I know we're talking about mothers, and I'm not going off the subject, but you know, you also have these mothers that are out here trying to raise men. I'm sorry, a woman cannot raise a man. That's hard.
Yeah.
That's really hard. You know, I think it just, any single parent, I mean, because and let's not forget, there are a lot of single dads out here.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
trying
true.
to raise men, trying to raise, you know, women.
Daughters,
So, you know what I'm saying? You have to kind of, you know, you got to take all of that into consideration. And like I said, you know, I'm blessed when it comes to that, you know, with my younger kids, because me and they dad, we co-parent. Like, people look at us like we crazy. They like, y'all do what? I mean, y'all get along y'all do, yeah, we get along great, you know, and I think that when people realize, like, hey, when you realize that it's no longer about you.
That's right.
And it's about your kids, then, you know, you good. But yeah, it's not easy. It's a lot. Moms deal with a lot. They deal with a lot. Being a mother is you know, because you got so many roles. Your mom, you know, you
the cook,
you
dishwasher,
man, you
provider,
you everything. You know what I'm
the
saying?
Chauffeur.
Yeah, you everything.
And co-parenting is so important, you know, because sometimes you be like, you know what, your dad's not going to deal with this, so I'm going to let him deal with this, okay? Because I can't do it right now, you know, because you might have to go wash some clothes, you might have to have a meeting or prepare for a meeting for work.
Is, I am the disciplinary, and let me tell you, I'd be like, you know what? Get your son. Get your son.
Right.
Get your daughter, because you know what? Like, you know how there's always one parent that's more stern than the other parent? Like, I am the stern parent, and dad is not the stern. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And to where, you know, like, I have to, you know, I do a lot. I fuss at everybody, so, you know. My son did something at school yesterday, and I was on the phone texting his dad, like, you know what, when he get home, you better get your son, because, man, I was going crazy on the cell phone. He didn't even text me back. He just, you know.
Deal with him, call him.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do it.
Well, you know what's strange? I always feel like raising my daughter, I raised her as a single mother. I feel like I played both roles.
Yeah, you have.
But it was like some days I was really stern, sometimes I was really sweet. It was like, what's that when people play? It was like I was bipolar. No, for real though, because it was times you was like, what? You did what? And you was really stern on it, and it was like, I looked at the situation one day and I was like, I think I'm naturally just playing both of these roles subconsciously or unconsciously. And it's interesting, but sometimes we take those roles on. Right. You know, I probably, you know, I did the best I can, though.
Right.
You know, and I think my daughter is pretty great and pretty
right.
awesome,
yeah,
you
right.
know?
Right.
She is. She's dope.
Right.
So, but I don't think anybody ever, I don't know if people experience that. Like, dang, I think I'm playing both roles, you know, naturally. So,
Yeah.
I wonder, anybody out there?
I mean, I'm thinking so, like, especially if you, if you're that single parent, you got to play both roles as much as possible. If you don't have, you know, nobody else to step in that and, you know, fill that void or whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm,
So, you know.
I had to do it, and I feel like it was second nature. It was just like sometimes I had to be mama, sometimes I had to be daddy, but I somehow you balancing out. I don't know if that's possible,
Yeah,
but
it's possible. Yeah.
I balanced it out with her playing those roles, but I was there with her, you know. But what I like about your story was we could have grew up and been another worse mother, you know, and been like our mothers, you know, but you stopped the generational curse and made sure you did different.
Well, we'll see. You know, I still got an older daughter, you know, so, you know, that's not the best relationship, but hey, it's okay. We're going to work it out.
But it happens, you know, but what I'm saying is by that is if she said, well, Mom, let's sit down and talk. You know, you already said, oh, okay, well, let me sit down. Let's sit down and listen. So we're not our mothers, you know. Well, I'm my mother all the way. So we're not our mothers, and where we sing that they could have did this or that maybe they could have did that. When we raised our children, we make sure we did this or did that or what have you.
Right.
You know, so it's funny, but, you know, it makes us that much of a better mother.
Right.
Or a better father, for that
Right. But the crazy thing is, although I don't have any kids, but when I was like in my 20s and I really didn't really understand like why I felt like I felt, I used to always be scared like to have kids because I felt like in my heart like I would have to be mindful to be nice to them because no, I'm serious.
No,
like,
I'm just laughing because, you know, I know I'm just laughing. I'm at my own.
Yeah, because that's because of how I felt inside. And it's like, I really felt that I didn't have any emotion or any love to give. And everybody always feel like, oh, you'll be a wonderful mother. You're so nice. You're so this. And you're so this. And it's like, yeah. But how I feel on the inside, like, could I do this every day? Because I really thought, like, you know, like, I would have to be so mindful of, you know, I have to be loving, I have to be this, even though I might have not felt it on the inside. So I was really nice.
But you know, what's interesting about what you said, I remember my daughter one time reaching to give me a hug, and I was like, not now. We have to understand we carry energy, and I didn't want to, my energy wasn't good, and I didn't want to give her a hug at that time. They don't understand, but when my energy isn't good, I don't want to hug you, even though you're my child. I just don't want to pass that energy to you. You understand what I'm saying? So even when we're giving out hugs or kisses, we have to make sure our energy is good. You know, maybe 5 or 10 minutes from now.
You can't use right.
You know, but sometimes
negative vibes.
Exactly. And I'm like, not now, baby. You know, and you feel like you're pushing a child away, but in our own way, we're protecting them for whatever type of energy that we feel on us at the time. So, we have to make sure we in good vibes, good energy when we giving them hugs, because a lot of people don't know that hugs are healing.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's a healing process. that was another insight.
That was such an insight. Like, they're like, what is... I'm sorry. It just flows. Like, y'all, I swear I don't I don't practice this stuff. I really don't, y'all. I don't. It just comes out. But I want to know why I am the one that has to be responsible for turning the phone on Facebook Live so everybody gets in.
Because you're good at it.
Yeah, you're good at it.
You're great at it.
Hey, Facebook people.
Angelina a hand clap. Always making sure Facebook.
Yeah.
So look, y'all, I want to tell y'all my story, but I don't I don't know how to begin.
Can your mama make a cake?
Absolutely. Her mom made delicious cakes.
Yes. I don't know where she could do it, but yes, my mother can make cake.
I don't even know her. I had to make Angel call her, like, call your mama so I could tell her, thank you for this cake, okay?
So I don't know where to begin because my mother has always been there. You know, and the more I hear other people's stories, the more thankful I am for my mom.
Oh, absolutely.
Like I give her like a hug, a kiss. I'm really like a big kid now, cause it's like when I see her, it's like, hey, mommy. You know,
right.
You're such a dork.
No, I'm serious.
You're such a dork. Listen.
I go into a kid mode automatically, and it's like, hey, mommy. You know, but I can't help it. It's like that's my sunshine to my day.
Right.
You know, just being able to see my mom. You know, I was raised with both my mother and my father. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what it's like not to have a mother. Or my mother was an at-home mom, too. Mm-hmm. So we had breakfast, lunch, dinner, celery, and carrots for a snack. You know? So when we came home from school, our snack was celery and carrots. We couldn't touch nothing else but them, or you had a choice, carrots or celery before dinner time.
Okay.
Those were your choices, nothing else, and water. So, and when you couldn't touch the refrigerator, so it was different. But she was always there. She hugs, kisses, all of that.
That's awesome.
I love yous, you know, food on the table. So I don't know what it's like.
Mm-hmm. I mean, my mom was there. You know, she was there. But I just spent a lot of time with my grandparents. You know, like me thinking back now, the first thought, like, when you were a kid, what did you do? I remember my grandmother, and then I remember my stepdad's parents, you know, and being around, you know, that side of the family. Like, those are the things that stand out. But my grandmother, for sure, was like, that was my ace. That was my road. Let me stop saying that was, you know, because my grandmother can't move. She can't move like she used to. You know, my grandmother is older. She's in her 80s, you know. She had a stroke a few years back. So, you know, of course, she can't do the things that she used to do. But let me stop saying was. But that's why I say, you know, we can't jump in the truck, you know what I'm saying, and go to the movie. Or, you know, whatever the case may be, we can't, you know, I was forever getting something, you know. Back when I was in school, Patrick Ewing came out with some shoes.
Oh, yeah. Patrick Ewing did.
Yes. Okay, let me tell you, my grandma took me to Foot Locker, Macomb Mall, and bought me some $80 all-gray high-top Patrick Ewings. I was like, yes.
Wow.
She loved me. Anything I asked for, this woman
got it.
Right. Yes.
So what he was in about 2 months, Patrick Ewing?
Patrick Ewing in what?
His style was like...
Oh, it's fun.
The Ewings actually,
they're still out.
Yeah, the Ewings, they redid them. The Ewings are actually back out. I want a pair of Ewings while you playing with his all ugly self, but boy, his shoes. Patrick Ewing is ugly. He look like a gorilla, but them shoes.
Actually, that.
He did. But his shoes, oh my goodness. Patrick Ewing, them shoes was, I love his shoes. I'm sorry, you might want to take that part out on the thing. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Patrick Ewing Adidas.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But I love the Adidas. It slipped out.
Yeah.
So,
Can you take that part out?
not off the live view. We can't take that
no, not off the live, I know, but I'm like, you might want to come after me.
I hope not.
But I like his shoes. Them Ewings, them all gray boys was tight. Okay, let's change the subject. Let's not talk about Patrick Ewing no more.
And I think a lot of things too, going back to what you said, like your mom was a stay-at-home mom. Like I think the pressures of, like even my mother, because she was a single mother, like you know what I mean? So people be angry inside that they have to do all this by themselves. And I think sometimes, you know, I don't think, like, looking back, I mean, my mother, I do believe that she loved me, but it's just the things.
Maybe she didn't know how to love.
Yeah, and just the aggravation of, you know, you got to be the mom, the dad, you got to pay the bills, you got to go to work, you got to make sure your kids got this, and that's hard. That's a lot emotionally, you know what I mean? And then you don't have no help, and it's nobody you can call, no dad to call, like, hey, you know, this, you know, I need this, I need that. So I can just imagine, like, the stresses of that. And then, like I said, like, with my grandparents, like, I was born in 1969, so my grandmother, she remarried in 1969, and then her husband that she married, he didn't have any kids. So I was like their baby. So whatever she may have been to her kids, it was like just a chance to do over with her new husband.
Right.
Because basically, and maybe my mother was work. She wasn't a bum. She went to school. She had a good jobs, bought houses, but they took her baby.
Right. That's true.
And then emotionally, you know, people say stuff like, it's her daughter, you know, like, well, you 19, like, oh, you don't know what to do with this baby. You don't do the, like, go help your sister. My mother moved to Detroit because my aunt had got divorced. She moved to Detroit to help her sister, but I stayed with them.
Right.
But psychologically, she might have been doing that selfishly because now she had her new husband that didn't have no kids. She wasn't having no babies. So, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. They took you to so that they can be, y'all can be the happy family.
Right, right.
So do you feel like, because like my father who actually raised me was not my biological father. So, but I never feel like I missed having a dad because he was always there. So do you feel like
my step grandfather? Absolutely, he was the father, the grandfather. Like I said, my mother's real father, like he died mad at her. Like it's you know, and I never was able to have a relationship with my real grandfather because it was just like I did end up having a relationship with him when I was grown, but being a little kid, when we would come to Mississippi, my aunt and my cousin, like I couldn't go see him because my grandmother was like, no, he didn't want you to be born. But you know what I'm saying? No, I'm seeing people, how they portray, like moms, bitter moms are cold.
Yeah.
And so I was never able to have a relationship with him until I was like 21, like till I could physically go and visit him myself.
Right.
And it was still like, well, what you wanted to see? Like my grandmother, she never let stuff go. Like I'm 21, I'm like, well, I'm gonna go visit my grandfather if I go to Mississippi. Well, he didn't even want you to be born. He didn't talk to your mother, like, but that's who she was. But when I look back on it, like she was one of those moms. Like, she loved her children. She was very possessive of them, of all of us. Like, we go to Mississippi, she don't want us to go visit nobody. Like, it's something wrong with them. It's something wrong with them. Like, she was just like,
Just make sure you come see me.
Yeah, and stay with me, like, the whole 2 weeks. I'm going to cook for y'all.
Like, I got the bed ready for y'all. You can stay in so-and-so room.
Yeah, all that. We had our own room. So, and, you know, I just look back, like, now and just think, like, even with my mom, like, there's a lot of jealousy, you know. She could have been jealous of how my grandmother treated me, you know what I mean? Because they were like, when they were growing up, they were like, well, we were scared. Like my grandmother, they was like, God, y'all get everything. They were like, we were scared to ask her a question.
Wow.
Because moms, you know, they didn't play. Like, is this what you about to eat? Like, it's no, I don't like this. Me and my cousin, for the whole summer, we would eat French fries, hamburgers, and hot dogs. Period. We have our own grocery cart when we go to the store.
Really?
It can come up $80, $90. She just paid for it.
Wow.
My mother and my aunt was like, who is this lady? Like, for real.
But you see a lot of that. I have seen parents so strict with their own actual child.
Yeah.
But when they have that grandbaby, they let that grandbaby just run them and run a whole household.
Yeah.
And then
I was that grandbaby.
Don't want you, would tell the mother not to chastise.
My mother couldn't do nothing to me.
Own child.
Yeah. Couldn't say nothing. Couldn't say I couldn't have nothing. Like, she didn't have no say. So it was like her and my aunt and well, I call him my grandfather because he taught me everything. But I will say, I think, like, and two, looking back on my life, like, just speaking to other young adults that might be feeling this way, I feel like God still always put people in your life. Like, you still, when you look back, you still had everything you needed.
That's right.
And it's like, even though I didn't have, because sometimes we feel like we have to have the mom, the dad, we have to have these certain things put in place for our life to be perfect. And we're looking at other people's life. But even though my father wasn't there, my mother was distant, but I had some amazing grandparents that made sure I had everything that I was loved. Like, it wasn't like my cousin, like, we lived in the same house. My grandmother, she didn't even have to know what it is. I remember my cousin, he got like an Atari system, whatever, some video games. I didn't even like video games, but it was like maybe he had got it like we used to go down there every summer. So he might have got his Atari like in May. Well, in June, we got to Mississippi. I had one. Like, she made sure she didn't never want me to feel like I was missing anything. So grandparents, they are wonderful. They really are. Yes, they make up the difference. I could cry. No.
Don't cry.
No, I'm not. But grandparents, they really are awesome.
So we talked about everything today, but I think the main thing that's important, Facebook, everybody listening, is the forgiving part of everything.
The forgiving.
You know, and I know it's tough. I know it's hard, but like Angelita said.
Another inside.
I turned the phone.
Another inside.
Like Angelita said, you know, you have to forgive for yourself and not for anyone else.
Right.
You know, and when you forgive, you release some things.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of people don't understand. You be in the same circle, and what I mean by that is just going in the same circle, going through the same thing over and over and over and over again, until you take time to step back and just, okay, why am I going through this? You know, and start forgiving, and you'd be surprised. You get so much further in life if you just take time to forgive.
And one of the things, too, I got to say, because I know I said my grandfather was this big, you know, mean, and hold on, dog. I got to clarify some stuff up. Wait a minute, because I don't want people thinking my grandfather was mean. No. As I got older, me and my grandfather, our bond was so dope. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got older, like, you know, my mom would be like, well, go talk to your grandfather, because, you know, he only going to listen to you. You know, so, like, you know, that, like, our bond was dope. You know, my grandfather, like, that was dad, you know. But, okay, I'm going to stop talking about him because he died a couple years ago. So, yeah. So, my grandfather was dope. So, yeah, it kind of like the roles reversed a little bit, because he then became, like, my favorite grandparent. And then my aunt, my youngest aunt, she had a daughter. And then Alicia became my grandmother's favorite. But by then, you know, she'd never be like how I was. So I was okay with Alicia being like the new favorite.
Right,
you know?
right.
It's old and worn out. You won't get the treatment that I got.
So basically, I'm thinking, and it appears like Desiree said, it's a blessing just to look at the situation, and even though that mom wasn't there, or that mother wasn't there, or that dad or that father wasn't there, God still made sure someone
was there.
Right. Yeah. It's good.
You know, and you know what that do? That make us who we are today. Yeah. You know, because if you look at your friends, I look at some of the people I grew up with, and the shape that they're in compared to, you know, and I don't like to compare my life to nobody else's life or anything like that, but looking at your life compared to what other people your age or you grew up with is going through, you know, you'd be like, I think.
Or people that you might have thought, like, their life was so great because they had, and that's the other thing, too, like, everything, like they say, everything that glitters is not gold.
That's right.
Just because you see the mom, the dad, the cars, the clothes, whatever, a lot of times there are a lot of crazy things going on in that household.
That's true.
So you never know. So it's like we talked about in another podcast, like gratitude. Like, you know, when you're able to just look back and be grateful.
That's
like
true.
now I can look back and it's like my life was fine.
Yes.
Like it really was fine. But it took me a long time to understand that because again, we're looking at your friends, well, how their households seem, or we watch TV, like, oh, well, they have a mom and your dad, and this is like, that's not always, you know, reality.
That's true. So basically, we have to be thankful that the Most High was always looking out for us, even when we didn't think He was looking out for us. He put someone there that was more than reliable and made sure that we had a happy life. We smiled, and because of those people, I am who I am today. Yeah. You know, despite of what the enemy tried, you know, we still found some way to be who the great positive entrepreneurs that we are today.
So. Totally agree.
Mm-hmm. Well, I always think about, like, dang, what if my grandparents wasn't there?
I know.
Like, for real. Like, for real,
yeah.
for real.
Think about if they wasn't there.
If they wasn't there.
Imagine life without them. Where would you be?
Absolutely.
No,
for real.
Look, no,
so I have to be grateful.
Like, I have to be grateful.
I be just like, okay, what if my mother didn't tell me? My mother told me growing up my whole entire life, and then we go cut everything off, that you could do anything you put your mind to. Mm-hmm. So even now, as a 41-year-old woman, I still think I could do anything I put my mind to. Because it's like she's not with me every day, but in my ear, it's like a recording of your mindset where you could do anything you put your mind to.
What you were taught.
Mm-hmm. You know? So that stays with you.
Oh, yeah.
You know, even like my daughter, she be like, I be so mad, I be so upset, and I be want to hit him. Mama, but I can hear you say, you know what, you too pretty to be fighting. And she said, I'll just walk away, but I be so mad, Mama.
That's true.
You know, so when it comes to mothers and fathers or what have you, you know, we just have to be thankful. And I think us being thankful, it helps us grow and realize that we were being looked out for at the same time.
Oh, we was most definitely.
Yes,
definitely.
Yes. So, I think we can wrap it up. What is that? Miss Thomas on there?
Darnicious Thompson.
Hi, Miss Thomas.
Thompson.
She said, "Hey, ladies, I was driving, so."
She had to stop. Yeah.
So wait a minute, am I getting that? Oh, can you read
that? She said now she can say, hey, ladies, I was driving, so all I could do was send hearts. So she just stopped, so she was typing that in. Hey, Mildred. Who's Mildred? I'm nosy. This is
my grandmother. My step-grandmother.
Oh, okay.
My grandfather, Mildred Hankins.
Yeah.
Oh, hi, Mildred.
Hi, Mildred.
How are you? It's my grandfather's wife.
Aww. And then there's Truly Enlightened. Well, I can't talk this. Hey, how are you? Give out your
2 minutes.
Your social. How do they connect with you on social media, Desiree?
I don't know.
Connect with Desiree. On Facebook, The Ultimate Handbag.
Yes.
Oh, that's what you meant. Okay.
So, if you want a lovely handbag, and we all raid her store every day for purses. You know, us women love purses. She have the most reasonable, beautiful handbags you could ever think of. So she's at the Co-op Exchange at 25900 Greenfield Road in Suite 326.
Yes.
So if you're looking for a nice summer bag or everyday bag, reach out to Angelita.
No,
that's
here.
Desiree.
I mean,
no. Desiree.
She done. She cut off.
Yeah, also the Ultimate Handbag Collection.com.
We wasn't ready for this one. We wasn't ready today.
Also, you can check us out at the Ultimate Handbag Collection.com. And there are purses for sale on Facebook as well on my page. So check it out. We do priority shipping, and you'll have your purse in 2 days if you're out of state. So check us out.
Yes.
Yolanda.
So we are actually right now in the Co-op podcast. So if you ever want to do your own podcast or interested in doing your own podcast, reach out to us at 12489652453. You can rent out the podcast room. You can invite friends. You can do an interview, or however you choose. So reach out to us at the Co-op podcast room, and you can call 12489652453 for more information.
Hey y'all, Angelita the Coach. You can connect with me on Facebook as Angelita the Coach, Instagram, Angelita the Coach, Twitter, Coach_Angelita, and my website is Coach Angelita. No, that's not right. I do that all the time.
You sure do.
Oh yes, that is right. It's sleepy y'all. It's CoachAngelita.com. Yeah, that's it.
And thank you for joining us today. We'll be back next Thursday at 7 p.m.